Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your Honor, given I think there's several lethality factors involving the case today. Mr. Wellman has a job occupation that leads to his access to resources in the community and resources with firearms. The state's extremely concerned that given his background that he is before the court today on the allegations of assault in the fourth degree domestic violence. We are seeking a $5,000 bail to assure community safety and that Mr. Wellman will be present before the court. I believe that he is at flight risk given the allegations and given the seriousness he's facing in his career. So I do believe bail is appropriate. We would ask for a domestic violence order be entered protecting the victim in this matter and prohibiting Mr. Wellman from residing at the residence that they share in common. They are not married, but they have been in a long-term relationship. We would also seek an order to surrender firearms. In this matter, I believe that Mr. Wellman would have access to firearms.
Mr. Wellman, did you get a chance to review your legal rights before your court hearing today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. And do you have any questions for me about those legal rights?
No.
Okay, all right. Mr. Schuler.
Thank you, Your Honor. No objections to probable cause for this matter. We waive any further formal reading and enter a plea of not guilty to the charge.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Hewitson, what's the state's position on release?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your Honor, given I think there's several lethality factors involving the case today. Mr. Wellman has a job occupation that leads to his access to resources in the community and resources with firearms. The state's extremely concerned that given his background that he is before the court today on the allegations of assault in the fourth degree domestic violence. We are seeking a $5,000 bail to assure community safety and that Mr. Wellman will be present before the court. I believe that he is at flight risk given the allegations and given the seriousness he's facing in his career. So I do believe bail is appropriate. We would ask for a domestic violence order be entered protecting the victim in this matter and prohibiting Mr. Wellman from residing at the residence that they share in common. They are not married, but they have been in a long-term relationship. We would also seek an order to surrender firearms. In this matter, I believe that Mr. Wellman would have access to firearms. I do believe that, and I will defer to Ms. Clausen, that the alleged victim is present and may have her own request of the court. But I would just note for the record the early state of the case, and if the court was to make any modifications, the state's preference was that those be electronic only. I don't believe that the parties have a child in common that would necessitate those things. However, I understand that there may be financial arrangements that need to be made, but those could all be made electronically through text and written communications. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Clausen, do you have anything on behalf of?
Your Honor, Ms. is actually zoomed into the hearing and I believe would like to address the court.
Okay, she certainly can. Are you with us on call? Oh, did she just log on? Okay, I think her connection is still being established, but while that's going on, Mr. Schuler, how about you give me Mr. Wellman's side?
Thank you, Your Honor. We'd be asking for PR relief. He has no criminal history. He has no warrant history. He's employed in a position in which he is trained to safely handle firearms and any other dangerous weapon. He provided that. And he's also provided for the safety of the community. That's a job. So I'd ask for to just consider PR release. He has a full-time position. He's been there for 4 years. No objections to a no contact order with the exception of electronic communication. He does have one child, although it's not a child. And he has significant ties to the community, so there's no reason to believe that he'd be at flight risk any more than the other client. With a full-time position, despite it being questionable, he has plenty of incentive to stay here, and lack of warrant history would also demonstrate that. Without any sort of showing that he's likely to commit another violent offense, failure to appear or interfere with the administration of justice, I don't believe the court has any reason to hold Mr. Wellman in bond. Thank you.
Okay, where does Mr. Wellman work?
He works for the city of Lakewood.
Okay, thank you. All right, and I think I see, go ahead and unmute your microphone and tell me what you would like me to know regarding this no contact order that the state is proposing.
Yeah, sorry, I got on late. I was having trouble getting on the Zoom call. As far as the no contact order, I know that's within your full control, and I can request that there not be a no contact order, which is what I would like, is to not have a no contact order. I'm not in fear of my safety or fear of my life. Yes, there are things that we have together. We live in the same house. We have all of our financials together, all of that. And it's not that part that is priority. But I have no concern that this is going to happen again, or that I need to worry about being in the same household as Joe. And then the other thing is just he has a child with his ex that I've been in his life since he was 3 months old. And by having a no contact order, that means that him and I would not be able to see each other, which would bring a whole nother person into the situation that I don't think is fair or appropriate. And there's no reason for his son or myself to worry about our safety around him at all. I do understand that he's probably held to a different and higher standard because of his position, because of his job. But I don't feel or think that the no contact order needs to be in place for me or him. I'm not scared of my safety or of my life with Joe.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Okay, and this, Mr. Wellman is held to the same standard as everyone else. That's the way the law works. We all are. So in this matter, there's obviously pretty substantially different recommendations as far as bail and release conditions. But looking at Mr. Wellman's history, at least what's available to me and what I think I've been told, is that he doesn't have any prior criminal history. His contacts with the community locally seem pretty solid. He's employed, even though it's Lakewood, that's not very far away, just across the border into Pierce County. I don't have any reason to believe Mr. Wellman won't reappear to court as instructed. So I think it's advisable in this circumstance to release him with conditions of release that will satisfy the safety of the community and the safety of. So, Mr. Wellman, I will release you on your personal recognizance on this case today with these requirements. Don't violate the law. Don't possess any firearms or dangerous weapons. If you're in possession of any firearms, dangerous weapons, or a concealed pistol license, you're to surrender those to law enforcement immediately. And then comply with the conditions of this no contact order. I am going to issue a no contact order prior to arraignment in this case. That prohibits contact with also going within 1,000 feet of her residence, school, or workplace. However, I will allow an exception in the order for electronic contact with regard to financial matters and matters to do with the children in your lives. By electronic contact, I mean texting and emails.
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, the state has one additional condition. Based on the information within the police report, the defendant was intoxicated at the time, well, actually before the incident. And so given that there was alcohol at play in this, the state would ask for a prohibition against alcohol or entrance into bars or taverns. Thank you.
Mr. Schuler, do you have any input on that recommendation?
I would object to that recommendation. While it is insinuating in the police report that he was intoxicated, that matter alone doesn't seem to be the spark of it. He also has no other drug charges, and he has no history of any sort of chemical dependence. And he's never made any admissions through any such means like a deferred prosecution. And again, no warrant history either. On top of that, his employment would prohibit him from consuming most intoxicants, save it alcohol.
Okay, well, with an allegation that, that a person's under the influence of alcohol at the time a crime's alleged to have been committed, I think there's pretty much always a nexus. So I'm gonna go ahead and adopt that recommended condition as well. So no alcohol, marijuana, or non-prescribed drugs, Mr. Wellman, and don't go to bars or taverns. I'm gonna make an exception for employment purposes. You may have employment reasons to have to do that. All right, the last thing, Mr. Wellman, is this: you're to return to court for your next hearing in this case. That it will be on February 3rd, which is 2 weeks from today, at 9 o'clock in the morning. All right.
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, I attempted to open the no contact order. Has the court made the modifications that it ordered today?
I sure did.
Or does the, okay, thank you,
Yeah,
Your Honor. My
I
apologies.
put those in there.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Say again, Teresa? No, he's hiring counsel. Yeah, I know I didn't address that directly, did I?